we mentioned Matthews is very much in the thick of the Hart Trophy conversation. I think for the three of us, probably the front runner, but don't sleep on these other guys here. Johnny Gaudreau, 107 points, has been huge for the Flames. As their GM said yesterday, we'll move heaven and earth to re-sign Johnny. You've got McDavid, who might win the Art Ross. He just plowed away there, two-time winner, obviously, for the Hart. Huberdeau, 78 assists, leads all the NHL. The Florida Panthers, one of the best teams in hockey. Matthews, you mentioned. Then there's Roman Josi. The Blue Liner might get 90 points for Nashville. He's already set the record most points in a single season by Nashville Predator. That's ahead of Paul Kariya, who, of course, was a great prolific forward. Right now, how do you handicap it? Who's your front runner?
Oh, obviously, I still like Auston Matthews. Goals are just outweigh assists. They just do. They always have been. They've always been looked at as a little more important, even though we all know they count the same on the scoreboard. But I just the way he's played is absolutely incredible. He's taken that team on his back, a very, very, very good team, a deep team with the depth that we're seeing now with him out, that how they're winning, and he is just carrying that team through. And I think that's just going to continue on with the playoffs. That being said, Johnny Gaudreau right there. I mean, he's the one that pops up. We've talked about Jonathan Huberdeau, spectacular year. Connor McDavid, he's always going to be in there with his points, but I think we're kind of looking at a little bit more out of him just because of the points. He's set a bar so high now. We're kind of looking for more. I think he's an odd man out, and I think that's I believe it's between Gaudreau, Huberdeau, and Matthews, with Matthews being the front runner.
Yeah, I might add Shesterkin, and I think part of it, the goaltender for the New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin, I think part of it, though, is, and I believe it's the professional hockey writers who vote for the Hart, it's where have they taken the team? And, you know, I look at a guy like Shesterkin, and right now they are second in their division, maybe knocking on the door to possibly get first in the division. Who would have saw that coming? A lot of people didn't have the New York Rangers making the Stanley Cup finals, or making the Stanley Cup playoffs to start the season. So there's a reason for that. And listen, there's a lot of great stories in New York, whether it's Kreider, Panarin, the trades they made at the trade deadline. But Shesterkin certainly should be a part of the conversation, as should Gaudreau, because as you mentioned, Mark, I don't think a lot of people thought the Calgary Flames would be in the position that they are in, leading the Pacific Division. So I think the writers look at, okay, what teams have really surprised us and who helped them get there? And that's why Connor McDavid, because listen, Edmonton still has not solidified a playoff spot. They should, and they will get in there. But you look at teams that maybe are surprising people, and I would add Huberdeau too, because the Florida Panthers, I did not see them head and shoulders above everyone else, and that's what they are in the East right now.
What would it take for Matthews to not win the Hart at this point? If he doesn't play the rest of the way and Gaudreau and Huberdeau keep adding up points?
Yeah, I think that would probably be part of it, but still 58 goals. I mean, you know, that's tough to beat. And as you mentioned, you know, goals count in my book more than assists. And to bring Toronto to where they are, you know, breaking records, it seems like every single night that they play, points, where they are in the standings. But it looks like Auston Matthews will be back. If he gets the 60 goals, I think he's a lock for the Hart Trophy.
Franchise record, 50 wins for the Maple Leafs as well, so it's pretty staggering how good he has been. It's interesting, too. Sometimes you always argue the Hart, is it the best player or the most valuable player? But by the letter of the law, in this case, I think he's both the best and the most valuable player.
Yeah, it is, and that's where you bring in the tough ones, because that's the Roman Josi, how important he is to the team, and if you got to give him consideration. Well, if you bring in a Roman Josi, well, then I have an argument for Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota. And he's broken records there, and would they be there without him? So it's such a fine line when you're talking about that. Yes, there's multiple players that should get consideration, but obviously the cream always rises to the top, to the crop.